Let's recap that game versus the Suns, and let's have a visit from the doctor.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. TGIF for everybody. And you guys are the everydayers. We thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code on all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. What are we talking about today? We're going to recap that game versus Phoenix. And can we talk about Wemby? He's going to be really dominating right now in the recap. We're going to look at the first half, and then we're going to look at the second half, and then we're going to have a visit from Dr. Ryan McCorkle. We're going to talk more about Wembanyama, how he can get physically stronger without adding the bulk that Wemby does not want to add. He'll be on shortly. But what a game out in Phoenix. That first half. Let's talk about the first half. What did I like out of that first half? Well, just start off with Wemby. Shall we just call him Unicron? Attack of the Titans, Giants. I mean, this guy was incredible. The performance he had in that first half was just jaw-dropping. It was his best in his very young career. Let's look at some of the numbers really fast. He had 20 points in the first half. 20 points in 16 minutes. Shot 14 attempts, made 8 of them. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. That was just in the first half. That's what I liked out of that first half of the game. He is number one on my list. What I saw was him being very comfortable. He looked more comfortable than he ever has in his very young NBA career. He was running the lane. He was trailing for an easy dunk. I mean, who's going to stop him if he's flying in for a dunk off a fast break? And you also saw the Wemby effect on the defensive end. So many times did Phoenix players think twice about going into the paint. A lot of them pulled out when Wemby was hovering in that paint area. He's playing the passing lanes. What I also liked too was he was showing some stones, if you know what I mean. He was not afraid to pull up from that 3 line in just the first half. 2 for 3 from the 3 line, including one to nearly end the first half. And he nailed it. Really got the team excited. You had the bench just jumping up and down. Devontae Graham was hugging Mamu and just not letting him go off a Wemby dunk. That is exactly what everybody's been waiting for from Victor Wembanyama, that type of play. Let's remind you, 20 points in the first half. And that's against a loaded Phoenix team that had Devin Booker back, obviously with Kevin Durant. They were playing at full speed. So, yeah, the Wemby impact was there. We'll see what he did in that second half. What else did I like out of the first half? I also like just the physicality and the attention to just coming out and balling out to start the game. The Spurs ended the first period 39-20 on the Phoenix Suns in their gym. Maybe it was the Tejano music they were playing at the Footprint Arena, but that really opened my eyes in that first quarter. I was expecting the team to come out a little hesitant, a little bit more on guard, waiting for Phoenix to get a little measure of revenge. No, they came out and just popped Phoenix in the mouth. 39-20 to close out the first period. And they were scorching hot from the field. I mean, I was like, that's Spurs basketball. 60% to end the first quarter from the field. 61.5% from the 3 line just to end the first quarter. And Victor Wembanyama was just getting cooked. He finishing with 7 points to end that first quarter. I love the tenacity. That was a team that did not look like they had deer in headlights anymore. That looked like a team that had that experience that carried over from getting just clubbed in the last season for that 22-win season. It looks like they took that experience over. You saw Jeremy Sohan playing he's getting better at the point guard spot. Sohan to end the first quarter with 8 points and 5 assists. That's from a guy, that's to end the first half. 8 points, 5 assists. That's a guy who has never really played the point guard spot. So you can see him starting to acclimate a little bit more. You saw contributions from everybody on the squad, not just Wembanyama, although he was just a beast out there. 10 points from Zach Collins to end the first half, 17 points from Devin Vassell. And can we talk about Devin Vassell? That's number 3. That's my big takeaway from that first half. Devin Vassell continues to rise. His star is continuing to climb. He finished with 7 for 10 in that first half, where, as mentioned, 17 points, 3 for 3 from the 3 line. So his 3 shot is connecting. That's something that needed to be corrected heading into this new season. Looks like he's doing that well. Dare we say we have the Robin to Wemby's Batman, or reverse for now till Wemby shows a little bit more consistency? Yeah, that's what I liked out of Devin Vassell. Just really being that leader that he wanted to be, that he wanted to shoulder, that he wanted to let everybody know that he is the leader of this team. And boy, is he doing that. Overall, you got contributions from everybody in that first half. 8 points from Osman off the bench. You had 6 points from Trey Jones before he exited due to injury. We'll find out how he's doing in the second half. Overall, what an incredible first half from a team that is still considered young, is still considered in the rebuilding phase. But what a piece to have in the rebuilding phase than Victor Wembanyama. Sure, maybe my top pick right now for the first half recap is Wemby and his performance, how the Spurs came out and popped Phoenix in the mouth, and then the continuing rise of Devin Vassell. But if I had to do like a 3.B or 3B, it would just be the Wemby effect. Just that Wemby effect. The way he energizes the bench whenever he dunks, whenever he makes a 3. Just watch the bench next time the Spurs play. Watch how they react and feed off his energy. In that second half, I mean, my goodness, I could have swore Godzilla was on the court. Wemby was just showing so much devastation. So what are 3 things that I liked out of that second half? 1, Wemby continued his dominance over Phoenix, getting close in shots, getting shots at the mid-range, getting 3-point shots. He was showing all that he can do on the offensive end. And you can see it was definitely impacting the Suns. At one point, the Suns were just trying to body him and everything, getting physical with him, did not slow him down. He looked, again, still comfortable. He didn't look frustrated at all. Very calm. As a matter of fact, he was even trying to rally the troops when Phoenix came back to tie the game at 116 in the second half. Wemby, my goodness, this is just one game. You don't want to get too overexcited. He was a factor through all 4 periods. He finished with a whopping 38 points. Those 30-plus points puts him among the elite of the Spurs rookies to ever do that in their first few games. He joins the likes of Tim Duncan, David Robinson. Yeah, he's in that class right now. Again, Wembanyama, which is unstoppable. 18 points in the second half for a total of 38 points for the entire game. 18 points in 17 minutes in that second half. There was nothing that Phoenix could do. Nothing. And that dominance that he showed. 7 for 12 in the second half, 5 rebounds. You like that, he did get into foul trouble. He picked up 3 quick ones. And you think that was shaking him, and it did not. He continued to play steady, and he was getting a little bit more aggressive. And he was establishing himself in the paint throughout the entire game. You got to like that. I didn't like the fact that he was drifting away, always settling for the 3 shot. He was trying to create in the paint, posting up, putting his arm up. Everything that Wemby touched tonight was gold. I swear, he was Godzilla. He was Godzilla just running rampant at the Footprint Arena out in Phoenix. What else did I like out of that second half and for the game as well? It's the fact that the Spurs, without Devin Vassell, who sat out the entire second half due to injury, left groin, that the Spurs showed their mettle. As mentioned, Phoenix came back to tie the game at 116. My first thought was, oh boy, here we go. That youth is going to show again. Saw this before versus Dallas in the home opener. They got rattled, but the Spurs were able to steady the tide. They were able to calm down, weather the storm. You knew Phoenix was going to come back. You can't count them out. Devin Booker started getting cooking. Kevin Durant was being Kevin Durant, but the Spurs hung in there. They hung in there and were able to get a win, a huge win for their young development. I think this is going to go far for them. This is going to boost their confidence moving forward. They can go into Phoenix, beat a fully powered Phoenix team with Booker, with Durant, and walk away with the sweep in Phoenix. If you had told me the Spurs are going to go into Phoenix early in the season as they're trying to get chemistry and development going, that they would escape Phoenix with 2 wins in a row, and one of them was going to be a come from behind win from 20 points, as well as one where they stemmed the tide against a raging thunder storm of Phoenix Suns coming back in that second half. I would never believed you, but they did that. They did that. Kudos to this young Spurs. They wrapped up that second half with a 12-0 run to put away the Suns. Amazing, amazing. So one of my final takeaway from that second half and for the game as well is the supporting cast, especially Doug McDermott. There's where your veteran leadership comes in. Doug McDermott came in, hit timely threes to keep Phoenix at bay and keep the Spurs somewhat separated from Phoenix on the scoreboard. You got contributions from the veteran, and that's what they need. The Spurs, they have a little bit of youth, they have a little bit of experience, the veteran part of it. It is just awesome to see how everything came together for one night out in Phoenix. 6 Spurs players in double-figure scoring for the night. 13 from CD off the bench total. 12 from Trey Jones off the bench. He even survived a Drew Eubanks elbow to the chin that nearly knocked him out. Contributions from everybody. Wemby can't do it all. And the Spurs were able to also survive without Wemby in that second half. And when they needed him, he came back and he really helped put away the Suns. And speaking of that, putting away the Suns and Wembanyama, this would be maybe my 3B. The Spurs are getting used to him. They're finally getting it. They're putting him in the pick and roll situation. They're lobbing high balls to him, not to the chest, not a bounce pass, over everybody because nobody can stop him. Nobody can stop him. One play, Keldon Johnson threw a lob into Victor near the rim. Victor goes up for the basket. Timeout Suns. Victor is calling out, going like, who's going to stop me? Keldon is doing the same thing, like, who's stopping him? Who's stopping him? They have to continue doing that. I love the fact that the Spurs were finally adjusting to Victor and giving him the ball. That is just awesome to see. 3-2 are your San Antonio Spurs. 3-2 heading into the next game versus Toronto on Sunday afternoon at home. I'm pretty sure the entire house is going to be applauding this young team. Overall, phenomenal win. Great night for Victor Wembanyama. Finally, we see the Victor Wembanyama that everybody was praising ahead of the draft. And all-world generational. We got to keep it cool, though. It is just one game. Relax. We'll see if he can continue this as the season goes on. But at least for tonight out in Phoenix, Victor was the man. Coming up next, we have Dr. Ryan McCorkle right here on Locked On Spurs. He's going to continue talking about Wembanyama and how I talked about Phoenix being physical with him. Dr. McCorkle is going to talk about how he can get stronger without adding that size that Victor doesn't want to do. He's also going to talk about the state-of-the-art tech and the Spurs, that marriage at the new Victory Capital Performance Center, why it benefits the Spurs. Coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk about PrizePicks. It's the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're the easiest, most exciting way to play DFS. And it's just you against the numbers. You don't have to worry about battling thousands of players or those sharks. It's just you versus the numbers. That's it. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player, their stat projections, and then you can watch the winnings roll in. With a basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across basketball from the Specials League. So what is that? It's a league created specifically for combo projections that include 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. So take NFL, for example, and the NBA. So LeBron James and Travis Kelce. If they add a 10.5 combo of 3 points made plus receptions, you win. Want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can do that. Now you can find community plays under the promos tab of the app, which you got to download right now, to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePick community each week. PrizePick even offers reboot policy, so your entire stay is in play, even if one of your players get injured. So, for example, just say you have a player that exits in the first half of a basketball game and does not return in the second half. That player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sport platform to offer injury insurance policy. I have the PrizePicks app. Go get it right now. Just find it on your Android or your Google Play. Get it and start having fun. You want to go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code LockedOnNBA for first deposit match up to $100. Once again, prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Code is Locked On NBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. And as promised, he is back, everybody. Dr. Ryan McCorkle right here on Locked On Spurs to discuss all things Spurs, health, nutrition, everything you need to know how these Spurs stay in tip-top shape. Make sure to follow him on X at AustinERDoc. He is a medical doctor at the Austin Medical Center. I believe that's the St. David's, correct?
I work at St. David's Medical Center, also at Austin Emergency Center, and then I have my backstage medical business that I try to spend the majority of my time on.
I know you're at work, you're pressed for time, so let's go ahead and get on with this. Early in the career of Wembanyama, maybe to nobody's shock, he's getting pushed around. Robert Covington, before he got traded back to Philadelphia when he was with the Clippers, during that blowout game afterwards, he was asked, hey, how did you handle Wemby? And in a nutshell, he just said, I just got physical and I pushed him out. You're seeing a lot of that. Now, Wemby's camp has been very clear about this. They don't want him to gain muscle and strength.
I think it's a narrative that we've seen before, like Kevin Durant. People had this to say about him early in his career too. He never really bulked up other than what normally happens to an individual as they age. Wemby is 19. He is going to put on muscle mass and weight over the next 4 to 5 years. That's just the natural evolution of getting older and maturing. But I don't know that he'll ever be, huge the same way Kevin Durant's very slim and still, is able to. I think it will help when he starts to get the superstar calls too. If you try to push Durant off his spot, you're going to get called for it. Wemby is a rookie, he's not going to get those calls. So I don't think it's so much a matter of he needs to bulk up so that he doesn't get pushed off his spot. It's that when they start to push him around, when he develops the respect from the officials in the league, they're going to get called for it, and he can stay at his current physique and still excel the same way Durant has, the way Chet Holmgren does, those kind of things.
Yeah, the trend nowadays are for players, just in the NBA in general. I mean, you don't have to look much in history. Tim Duncan, one thing that he did towards the end of his career, he slimmed down, and that added some years to his NBA career. Wemby, as of right now, he ain't gonna have that problem. He's a 19-year-old kid, probably metabolism probably burning like a furnace. What can he do in the interim this season where he can gain strength without bulking up? Like, what are some exercises he could possibly do?
I think most of the weight training is going to be that high rep, low weight kind of approach to it. So he can add strength, but without adding bulk. You're not going for one rep max and trying to do really heavy weight to bulk up the muscles. You're wanting to develop strength so he can hold his position, but not necessarily add weight and bulk and mass quickly, because that leads to injuries. And you mentioned Tim losing the weight and extending his career, but also if you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Robert Parrish, two guys who were able to stay slim or slim down towards the end of their career, incorporate yoga and stretching, and got to play until they were 40, 41, 42. And I think that's what we're all hoping for Wemby, is that long career, not that he needs to be bulked up.
Right. You mentioned high rep, low weight. What does that do to the body, like internally? What does that do to the muscles? What type of activation do the muscles do or perform under that type of stress?
Well, it kind of incorporates a level of cardiovascular, because it is your heart rate's going to get higher as you do more reps, but you're able to do more because you're going at a lower weight, and it's not doing the whole thing where you're breaking down the muscle fibers and then have them reheal and add bulk and mass. So it will give him the strength, probably more related to the movements that he does in a game, using those kind of resistance exercises, so that he will be stronger and able to do more, but it doesn't necessarily translate to carrying more weight, carrying more mass that has more impact on the joints, the low back, those kind of things that will cause you to miss games and shorten a career. I really doubt they're going to failure during the season. That'd be something in the off season. And between, I said, these next 5 years from 19 to 25-ish, he's going to add the weight that every young male adds during that time. So you're going to see some increase in bulk and mass just because of the hormones and the natural development maturity. I think after that, when the next thing, you carry about the same from 25 to 30, and then around 30 is where you start to battle the adding the weight of middle age, what we saw happen to Shaq. So I think the things that Wemby does already that we've seen in those videos with the stretching and the yoga, that's what's going to keep him healthy on the court and playing for a long period of time into his late 30s, right, early 40s, if that's what he wants to do.
And one thing you mentioned the last time you were on was not to discount yoga sessions and yoga training. You know, we saw the viral video of Wemby looking like Gumby, even just bending everywhere. You know, but if you want to reiterate to the listeners, just how important strength training can lead. I mean, stretching training can lead to strength.
Absolutely. So using your body weight, the thought that we need, weights for everything is kind of, that's an older mentality, and it's gone by the wayside. We do a lot more with body weight, with bands. When you see NBA players doing strength training, it's usually with those kind of things: balls, bands, and body weight, more than just throwing up weights. Yeah. Because it does lead to more injury, and every team now incorporates yoga because they've seen what it does for decreasing injury, keeping players on the court, and lengthening their career. And it really does incorporate both cardiovascular training and strength training with, a ton of, when you're doing chaturanga, doing basically push-ups, and a lot of just using your body weight, but getting a lot of resistance and strength training with it. So I can't underestimate the benefits of yoga for NBA players especially.
Well, there you have it, Dr. Ryan McCorkle, on how Wemby can get stronger in the interim. And hopefully that will happen because, like I said, early in the season, he is getting kind of pushed around out of his sweet spots. We'll see how that develops during Wemby's first season and beyond. Coming up next, Doctor is going to talk to us about Spurs and Tech. I had a chance to talk to Julian Champagnie, a few other players from City Osmond, about the new Spurs facility and what it offers the players. Doctor's going to comment on that right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk about FanDuel. Look, score easy this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get themselves $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Can't get easier than that. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get on the action than right now. And why you should. NFL season is well underway. NBA season's just begun. Your San Antonio Spurs are playing. Not too bad, 2-2 so far. Maybe they'll get better. You want to join in the fun and follow the Spurs? Well, you got to use FanDuel and get the app right now. So that app I'm talking about is very easy to use. Just get it right now, download it. There's a wide range of betting options from player props to spreads, so much more. Look, I go there almost daily, just to check out the NBA futures, check out anything, all the fun that FanDuel offers. So download that right now. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. And I also want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Look, San Antonio, go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281 and 1604 area. You have a friendly staff. You got a wide variety of drinks. You got dairy alternatives. You got signature drinks from the Alien, that's Wembanyama's drink, to the OG OJ. That is the old school Orange Julius recreated only at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Then we got mini donuts. They got the Red Bull infused lightning bolt series. That'll get your day going. They have it all only at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Look, they're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs. Proud of just to support the community in San Antonio. They love it, and they're very fan interactive. You could chat with them on TikTok, X, Threads, Facebook. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can follow them at Mudslinger SATX. That's all one word. That's Mudslinger SATX. So go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now. Look, over 300 5-star reviews cannot be wrong. They're open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now. Why? Because life is too short for bland coffee. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with the big guy himself, Dr. Ryan McCorkle. He's here to talk to you about everything Spurs, health issues, and much, much more. And speaking of much, much more, Doctor, I know you're well aware. I think all of San Antonio, Texas, the world probably knows the Spurs opened up a new training facility. I've spoken to a few players already. I spoke to Julian Champagnie recently. We were talking about the new facility. and he is known for just being a gunner out on the court. And he said the technology they have there to help him shoot better is just for him eye-opening. C.D. Osman spoke to him during a media session, says that one thing that he loves is how close the chef is to the gym, the practice gym, that they can just go over a door. And that's what I imagine. They go into a door and it's right there. Technology, fitness, NBA, Spurs, there's a marriage right now in San Antonio. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think, any way that we can incorporate technology and quantify things and help people to get incrementally better in their nutrition, in their recovery, in their training is absolutely what we should be doing. We've seen, the breakdown of golf swings into minutia, videotaping it. And so I think incorporating that kind of technology into helping players with their shot is absolutely a direction they should be going. Putting the chef right by the court decreases that, if there's a distance between you and the kitchen, then there's going to be candy, cookies, snacks, something in between you and there.
Right.
The closer you put it to the court, the more likely you're going to go in there and grab something healthy because it's closer and it's the first option when they're hungry right after they train. So I think that's an incredible idea. You had you'd mentioned the cold tubs and having them the size of an NBA player. That's genius, but of course I'm sure they don't come off the assembly line in that size for a 7-footer. So that also is something smart they did with the training facility.
I was at the gym, and above the baskets in the press room, there's like these, looks like a bush of cameras just like peeping out everywhere. And it just located, you can see them just moving everywhere. You mentioned golf swings and how technology has helped golfers get better. Champagne talked about shooting and getting better with that proprietary tech they got. I mean, in your experience, Doctor, just how finite can technology help?
Yes, absolutely. You can break it down to that level, especially with that, like you were talking about the camera array. We can get down to a granular level of your angle of your elbow. Also, just tracking movements across the court. The NFL has been doing that with the chip and the shoulder pads for a while, but letting players understand the most efficient way to move down the court. So you put less miles on yourself, where your spots are, especially, on the court. Players have a feel for that because they've been playing the game for so long, but now you can quantify that and be like, this is your spot. You shoot a higher percentage from, just 6 inches this way or that way. And kind of break it down to that granular level, use the technology so that they know the most efficient way to get where they need to go and to improve their percentages on their shooting.
The Spurs are loving it. They love all the tech. They love that health option of having a chef like on hand right there when they're done with practice, and so much more. So good job, Spurs. He is Dr. Ryan McCorkle, but we can't let him go without asking him what is his latest sneaker edition. Do you have any sneaker editions since we last spoke?
I got a couple. I did the for the holiday season. I always take my kids. We have our traditions of going to the elf party at the Alamo Draft House, and then the Grinch party that we throw with my family. So I got the Kobe Grinches for this year to wear with I have a Buddy the Elf outfit and a Grinch outfit for each of our little parties. So now I got the Kobe Grinches to go with them. Got some friends and family off-white Kobe's, thanks to Blink 182. I guess two more things. I did want to mention when we talked about Wemby and the training facility, how great it is that this generation has embraced yoga and stretching and nutrition, because the past generations, it was a constant battle for coaches and training staff to try to get them into this. And now it started from such an early age, like you see with Wemby, embracing stretching, embracing yoga, embracing nutrition, that it's so much easier than trying to fight, Gilbert Arenas from eating gummy bears for 3 meals a day. That's a whole lot better. So that was great. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I also do Austin FC and UT Longhorns football stadium medical director, and we've been doing those games, and that's been great. And then the backstage medical, we mentioned Blink 182, but also I had my greatest moment of my life, it'll all be downhill from here, was doing Pearl Jam. And I've been to 93 shows of the band, 30 of Eddie solo, and then finally got to to take care of them. And Eddie Vedder was into game worn jerseys, so I gave him my scrubs and said, "Here's a game worn jersey, just on the low." And the next night, he comes out on the stage and he's wearing my scrubs for the
Get out. Yeah. That's done. You're done. It's over. Yeah, you hit the peak. Make sure to follow Dr. Ryan McCorkle on X at AustinER Doc. He does it all. He's making sure all of Austin is safe and healthy and everything from Backstage Medical, St. David's, all that good stuff. Make sure to follow him also on Instagram at AustinEM Doc. And do it there. There you can see all his sneaker collection and more. Hey, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. We'll be back next week, likely talking more Spurs, more Wemby. We cannot get enough of Wemby, so come on back to Locked On Spurs next week. You guys are the everydayers. You can also listen to us on SiriusXM NBA app now. Hey. So don't forget to subscribe to SiriusXM Radio ASAP. So for Dr. Ryan McCorkle, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.